Okay, so let's get right into this incredible story of how a desert empire, with almost no experience at sea, took on the absolute masters of the Mediterranean in a battle that would literally change the world.
I want you to picture this, the Roman Empire. They've been a naval superpower for 700 years, and they gather their full might. What's their fleet look like? 500 advanced warships called dromons, all ready to assert their dominance once and for all.
And who's facing them? A tiny, fledgling navy of just 200 ships. And these guys, they weren't lifelong sailors. Just one generation before, they were known as people of the desert. I mean, the odds were just impossibly stacked against them.
Yeah, this looks like a complete wipeout, right? So how on earth did we get to this moment? How did an empire born in the sands find itself fighting for control of the waves?
All right, to really get this, we've got to rewind a bit. Back to a time when the new Muslim empire had this one massive, glaring weakness: the sea.
See, the Romans owned the Mediterranean. It was their playground, and they used their crazy powerful navy as a weapon, launching constant, punishing raids on the empire's coastlines. They could strike with impunity. The Muslims were powerful on land, sure, but they were completely exposed at sea.
And this is where the story gets really personal. There was this woman, Haram, and she heard a prophecy about a future Muslim fleet that would sail like kings on thrones. Her response was so simple but so powerful. She just said, "Pray that I am one of them." Now, you got to keep her in mind, okay? Her story is absolutely central to all of this.
So even with this clear threat, the governor Muawiyah's request to build a navy got shot down by the Caliph Omar. And you can totally see why, right? On one side, you've got the Romans, with 700 years of naval tradition, the world's biggest navy. And on the other, you've got, well, desert people with zero sea experience. It seemed like a suicide mission.
But Muawiyah, he was not giving up. The second Caliph Umar died, he's right back at it, making his case again to the new Caliph, Uthman, who, by the way, just happened to be his cousin.
And he argued like his life depended on it, sending letter after letter. This one quote just sums it all up perfectly. "The island of Cyprus is so close that we can hear the barking of their dogs." The point was, this wasn't some far-off threat. It was right there. Cyprus was a Roman naval base, and it was dangerously close.
So finally, Caliph Uthman gives in. But with this really strange condition. He basically tells him, "All right, you think this is so safe? Prove it. You and all your generals, you have to take your wives with you on the very first trip." I mean, talk about a test of confidence in your own plan.
So Muawiyah agrees. What else is he going to do? But now they've got this other huge problem. They have permission, but how do you actually build a fleet from scratch when you have absolutely no clue what you're doing?
Well, their solution was just brilliant. They didn't try to reinvent the wheel, they basically just took it over. They found these old Roman shipyards, and then they hired the local Christian engineers who'd been building these warships for the Romans for years. They literally used the enemy's own stuff, their own experts, to build their fleet.
And so, the moment of truth. With all the generals and their wives on board, this brand new fleet set sail for Cyprus. And, in this just stunning turn of events, the island surrenders without a single shot fired. The first test was a massive success.
But this is also where that prophecy, from all those years ago, was so tragically fulfilled. Remember Haram, the woman who asked to be part of the fleet? She was on the expedition, and after they landed, she fell from her horse and died right there on Cyprus. She got her wish, and her tomb, it's still there to this day.
Okay, so this victory and the fact that this new navy was getting so confident, well, it absolutely enraged the Roman emperor. He decides, that's it. This has gone on long enough. He was going to personally lead a massive armada to just crush this upstart navy and put them back in their place for good.
And that, right there, brings us full circle back to where we started. 500 Roman ships, led by the emperor himself, squaring off against 200 Muslim ships, a showdown so huge it would later be called the Yarmouk of the Seas.
So as these two fleets are facing off, it looks like it's all over before it even starts. There's this strong wind blowing directly against the Muslim ships, literally pushing them backward. Meanwhile, it's filling the sails of the Romans, pushing them forward. They were basically sitting ducks.
But here's the thing, they didn't panic. The commander just orders them to drop anchor and wait. And then, in a moment that must have felt like a miracle, the wind completely shifted. All of a sudden, it was at their backs.
They seized the moment, pulled up their anchors, and charged. And this is where their brilliant, totally unconventional strategy comes into play. They start lashing their ships together, creating one huge, stable fighting platform. From there, their archers could just rain down arrows on the rocking Roman ships. Then, they get in close, tie their ships to the enemies, and do what they do best. They turn a sea battle into a land battle.
And the tactic was just devastating. Amid all the chaos of the fighting and with a storm brewing, the Roman fleet just shattered. The emperor himself barely got away. He had to ditch his royal clothes, disguise himself as a common soldier, and just run for his life. Look, this victory wasn't just about winning a battle. It completely broke the back of the Roman navy. It shattered this myth of their invincibility that had lasted for centuries. And it inspired a brand new, incredibly audacious plan.
With the Mediterranean suddenly wide open, Caliph Uthman draws up this wild blueprint for the future. It's this multi-stage plan to conquer Europe, Spain, then France, then Italy, then Greece, to come at the Roman capital, Constantinople, from behind, from the land.
But this massive vision, this plan to literally redraw the map of the world, was stopped cold. Just a short time after he came up with it, Caliph Uthman was assassinated. And with his death, the political unity just fell apart and that incredible momentum was lost. And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about, doesn't it? This one battle was this massive pivot point in history. It broke a 700-year-old naval dynasty and almost kicked off a complete reshaping of the entire Western world. It just makes you wonder, how different would our world map look today if that plan had ever actually gotten off the ground?